Okay, QSL. I'm going to go over to my YouTube here on the tablet, and I think I'll just search your call sign. Negative on that. What was the thing to search again? Okay, haven't found it yet. Nothing on it yet. Let's see here. I think I might have it. Nope, negative. Stand by. All right, QSL, yeah, I remember that from the last time we did a live stream. Your audio just gets muted out when you transmit, and that was one of the things I noticed when I was using the 891. I could run the audio out into the computer, and I could record a QSO, and it would get both stations, myself and the other station. And then when I upgraded to this FTDX10, for some odd reason, it doesn't do that anymore. So if I record a QSO, when I get on the PTT and transmit, it just goes completely like it's nothing. And it'll get the other station, the station that I'm QSOing with. But yeah, why it's that way, I'm not 100% sure. I looked in the settings on this FTDX10 to see if I could change something, but no, it's kind of a bummer. I'd like to be able to record QSOs and get both sides of the traffic. Interesting. Like you said, from the radio, you can get both sides. I think you're on an ICOM, aren't you? Like the 9700 or something like that? Okay, QSL, yeah. I might have to look into that. Maybe, well, kind of like we were talking on the cell phone, maybe I could try a discussion forum on Facebook or something or other, maybe. But I know there's a FTDX users page on Facebook. Maybe I'll have to try and get onto that page and see if find out any answers on it. Negative. No, I searched John Sierra Charlie Hotel Live, and it's just coming up with a bunch of random stuff, like a bunch of live performances, but I have not seen it yet. If you can, maybe forward me the link. All right, QSL, let me reach for my cell phone without pulling the radio off the table, and I will type that in. Okay, I've got it now. It sounded like there was another station in there. All right, Yep, that's what I was doing. I was hearing myself. Hi. I forgot about the latency. So, yeah, I was thinking there was another station in there, but it was myself. Hi. Oh, okay, QSL. Yep, not a problem. You know, speaking of which, the times I've been in Best Buy, I always walk by and kind of drool over the computers, you know, and I look at some of those 7 processors, and there was an Acer in there a couple days ago. It was a 7 processor, and it was only $1,000, you know, for a 7 processor. I've always kind of thought to myself, you know, it might be kind of like overkill for amateur radio, but kind of thinking about it now, what you just mentioned, it may not be a bad idea. Maybe one of these days I'll bring home something like that. I do believe that is a very accurate statement, because when you were saying that, I thought to myself, it's like no matter how much room you have, eventually it's going to get to a point where you need more. And, yeah, it would definitely be, I'm always going to upgrade. I like computers. The one that I use for my main shack computer is a 5, HP Envy. But, yeah, I think I'm going to do it one of these days. I've kind of looked at some of those 9 processors, too. You know, $3,500. But, man, I can't imagine it would be nice to play with, though. All right, QSL. Yeah, I'm sitting here monitoring it. Wow. Yeah, that's cool to see. So that's basically what you're seeing over there on your end, then, correct? Okay, QSL. Yeah, that is definitely cool. Definitely cool. It's fun to look at that. But now I was kind of thinking if you wanted to go ahead and call out a CQ and see if anybody else is on frequency, or if we can stir up any other kind of traffic. I'm not hearing anything over here on my end. I'm sure somebody will probably come along before too much longer. So, yeah, it's definitely that's cool. It's cool to hear my own signal. Yeah, it's kind of like we were mentioning earlier too. I kind of think about all the things that I've, got planned. I wanted to do in radio, and it seems like when the time does roll around, like on a weekend or this one, we got a little bit of an extended weekend. It's still like, well, I did get to a few things, but still, like, I want to do this, I want to do that, and whatnot. But no, I've always kind of liked the idea of this. This is one of the things I think a lot of local hams should do, is actually get out there and do like we're doing now. We played around a little bit with Hellschreiber, each of us for the first time this evening, which was great. Definitely got a lot of questions answered. But getting out there and just keeping the your experience with your equipment and whatnot. because I got into a conversation on the 9.4 with Russ, KF0EAZ. Nice gentleman, but we were kind of talking about that as, being able to just be, if an emergency came along or if the right situation come along to where you'd be able to be up and on the air efficiently, within a few minutes. And I think that's something that a lot of hands need to be able to do. Keep the practice up, KE0 DFA with N0 WJS. Yeah, I think what you were talking about there, just when you first started transmitting, is I think that's a lot of it is, and I'm not dogging on anybody by no means. I'm just kind of stating something here, but I think that's what happens to a lot of early hams is they're not getting the results that they want to get. And they get frustrated, like you said, with the dial things and, trying to do some crazy 2 meter, 70 centimeter stuff and not quite grasping the idea yet just how each band works. And it might get a little bit frustrating for them, and probably a lot of them just give up on it. But I've seen a lot of hams too, well, not a lot, but a few that I know of that just kind of faded off. And I never hear anything from them anymore. And granted, they've got the whole YL and the kids and full-time jobs and mortgages and all that stuff. But still, it just seems like I think of the percentage that come in with a little bit of enthusiasm and a little bit of want to get into this, most of them just fade out. And why that is, I kind of know, but I kind of don't. Kind of a rhetorical thing. But, yeah, it's something I've definitely noticed as well. Well, that's a nice, interesting angle to look at it as well, to make some progress in a short amount of time. That is, I didn't really look at it that way either, but yeah, there's probably even less of us than that. And speaking of that, I know it's something I got to keep at the front of my mind is I tested for tech on February 10th of 2015, and I remember the date exactly because it was my birthday. But I kept thinking to myself, wow, around 2025 I'm going to have to renew. And I've heard you can renew up to 4 months, I believe. And this will be the first time I've renewed. So I'm going to have to figure out what's done. I know you get on FCC.gov, but from there I haven't really figured it out yet. I got a little while yet, but something I'm going to have to think about here in the next 6 months or so. Start figuring out how to get this thing renewed, because I definitely do not want to start back at the beginning. It's definitely nice to know. Yeah, it's going to be nice to have a little bit of a cushion there, because I bet you a lot of people don't think about it. 10 years is kind of a long time, and especially like, what we touched upon just a little bit earlier, if it's not a priority for somebody, they could very easily forget. But, yeah, as far as extra goes, I think there was most of it for me was, it's kind of a lot like high school. When I was in junior high and high school, is sitting there with a book does absolutely nothing for me. The real learning starts to come when I can actually get my hands on it and get dirty, so to speak. And when I was going through extra, I had to study for about 3 months, and most of it didn't really make any sense. I was just going off of memorization. And then once I got, through general and through extra, and I actually started working with the stuff and seeing how it works, it was like, oh, that's what the book was talking about. So I think I'm kind of unique in that way. My mind, my brain kind of learns in reverse. It's almost like you need to give me the answer, and then I will reverse engineer it and figure out why that's the answer. And that's kind of how I learn. It's kind of probably goofy, but it's how my brain's been wired since as long as I can remember. Kilo Echo Zero, Delta Foxtrot Alpha. Yeah, it's, okay, so to maybe reiterate and drive your point even further, like I said, for about the past week, I've been looking at YouTube videos, reading articles and this and that about Hellschreiber, and I really it kind of left me just a little bit more confused than when I started, and I really wasn't getting any concrete answers, and then, like you said, hour on the phone with you, and it's like, oh, okay, this is this, that's that, like, all right, and when I go back to it next time, I'll be a little bit further along. So, but it's kind of interesting too how you mentioned that, about what I did today with the satellites. I messed around with FM satellites in the past, maybe a year or so ago, and I just kind of fell to the back burner, and then I kind of decided to dig the 2730 out again and played around with it, and it's just kind of a get in there and do it over and over and over. You just get better with it with time, but I only messed up one call sign today, so I'm not feeling too terribly bad. Yeah, your audio did change there a little bit. It kind of sounded a little bit more, like it has reverb in it. It's kind of like it's coming from an empty bathroom, but it changed a little bit. So I don't know if you did something on your end or not, but yeah, it's definitely an experience as a wonderful, wonderful teacher. Yeah, that's a little bit more audible, a little bit more legible, I guess. You could say legible to the ears, but yeah, it's a little bit better. But no, I'll go ahead and I'll see if there's anybody over here on my end. I'll do a quick CQ. This is Kilowatt Echo Zero Delta Foxtrot Alpha on frequency with November 0 Whiskey Juliet Sierra. Live streaming on YouTube. If there's any other stations that are monitoring that want to jump in, go ahead and call now. Wow, looks like we couldn't even pull them in here if we had to. So interesting how that works. But no, it sounded good over here on this end, John. KE0 DFA. Oh, no, I definitely know how it goes. I'm very sensitive to my sleep, too. That's two things that I have to have. I have to have nourishment. My stomach has to be full. I got to have sugar and caffeine and sleep. So, no, I definitely hear where you're coming from. But no, man, definitely appreciated it. I'm glad we could do what we did tonight. Definitely answered a lot of questions. So, like I mentioned, we can do. We want to do it again, definitely sometimes. But we'll have to see how schedules go and whatnot. And kind of sometimes it's better the things that you don't plan end up being the best. So, but no, definitely keep it in mind, and we'll have to do it again sometime. So, definitely appreciated it, John. We'll go ahead and hand it back to you, and I will be clear on your final. Kilo Echo 0, Delta Fox Alpha 73. John, take care. All righty, take care. 7-3.